Today's video is a guided lesson on multiplying using the area model. So we're going to go into depth about the area model. Associated with this is your guided notes. And what you're supposed to do is, as you're watching this, fill out these guided notes, answer these questions in this column right here. So what does the x represent in the area model? I'm going to go over that, and then you just put the answer in there, right? On all of these, except for the questions part, I will go over in this video. So it's just a way for me to check to see that you're watching the video. And this will be a tool that you'll use when we do our problem sets this week. Okay, so complete the area model. So it's really important to understand that the x, what it represents in this, is let's do color here. Let's do a pink. I like pink. It's part of the length uh, of the of this rectangle. So it's not the entire length. It's just a part, right? So is this five. This five is also just a piece. It's not the entire thing. Part of side, right? But likewise with the one, right? One is a part, just a part, right? We're just talking about the parts of a side. Now x plus 5 is the actual, right? It's the side length. So we're going to write side length. And this is the side length also. All right. X squared, right? We got x squared by taking x times x and finding x squared. And that's the area, right? So that's the, it's part of the area. So part of area. 5x, 5 times x is 5x, and that's inside. So anything inside is the area. Anything outside is the length. All right, and so obviously, right, these are all the same. So on one side, we have part of the side. On the other side, we have part of the area. Now they want to know the entire large rectangle. So x times 1 is just x. X times 5 is 5. So x squared and 5 are, right, they don't have any like terms. I'm going to change the color here. So let's change it to this. So I can just take this x squared. I can take this 5 and leave it alone, right? Now, if it was negative, I would put a subtract. Same thing here. If it was negative, I would put a negative here. Since this is positive, I just put positive. And because these are like terms, right? These are like terms, meaning that this has an x and a 1 here, and this has an x and a 1 here. I just combine them. So if I have 5 x's and add another x, I have 6 x's. So, and it's positive, so I'm going to write plus 6x, and that's a plus 5. It's a very ugly plus, but it's a plus 5. So your final total area is x squared plus 6x plus 5. All right? We're almost done. This is a very quick lesson. So what we're going to do now is these two examples, and then we're going to play with one of these and change it up a little bit. So first things first. Step 1 is to draw. So you're going to get problems like these, right? And you have to, step 1 is represented as as rectangles. And how you do that? Well, you take the first one and you put it on the top. I like to put the plus there. Take the second one and put it on the side. Now the reason why I do that is when I draw my rectangles, where my signs are, I know to draw a line. All right? It's done for you here. So, and then what you do next now is you find what's inside these boxes. So x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? And I don't want you to get confused, but this box and this box are identical. But we don't want you to get confused. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, so step one was to create this. Step 2 is to fill in the box. And your last step is to simplify. What do I mean by that? So, these are what's inside the box right now, 3x, 2x, 6, right? That's what's inside the box right now. To simplify means to combine like terms. So this does not have any like terms, so it stays 6x squared. 3 and 2 becomes 6x, and this is just 6. All right? So your final answer for this is x squared plus 6x plus 6. So what's step one? Step one is draw the box, right? What's step two? Step two is using what you know about area, fill in the box, which is multiplying the lengths, right? And step three is to simplify. All right, let's do the problem on. So you need to find the product of x plus 4 times x plus 3. So you set this up, and this becomes x squared. X times 3 becomes 3x. X times 4 becomes 4x. And 3 times 4 becomes 12, right? So step one was set it up. Step two was fill it in. And step three, the final step, is to simplify. So we write x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 12. Yeah, let me write it outside. So it's 12. We don't worry about x squared and 12, right? Those just stay the same, x squared and 12. We just add these two and we get 7x. So your answer is, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Your final answer, right, what I want you to put in your guided notes is x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now I want you to look for patterns. I want you to look for where it's, what could I have done with 3 and 4 to get 7 and 12, right? I want you to think about, are there any shortcuts, okay? So now we're going to do x minus 4 and x minus 3. And then I'm going to go to a blank paper to do the last one. So so again, step one, draw the box. Fill in the box is step two, and we're going to fill it a different color. X squared negative 4x, right? And a positive times a negative is a negative, negative 3x. And a negative times a negative is a positive. All right. So that's step two. Now, step three is we simplify, right? We can leave these two the same, but the like terms we're going to combine. So a negative and a negative is a negative 7x. And I don't want to clean this up because I don't want any confusion. Should I change the size of? Oh, I can. Let's change the size of the pencil, and let's make it black so you guys can see it pretty good. So x squared. Negative 3, negative 4 is negative 7x, and positive 12. Again, we know that in the last question we're going to have to compare the differences. What's the same? Well, the x squared is the same, right? Positive 7, negative 7, so the signs changed, right? But the absolute values of the numbers are the same, right? So this is 7, this is 7. And this is positive 12 and positive 12. All right, so the last one we have to do, which I'm going to do on the actual sheet, is x plus 4 times x minus 3. Okay, so let's change the ink black. I like that. Let's see how thick it is. Not so thick. All right, so I draw my box, right? I put the first one on top. It really doesn't matter which one you put on top. It's called the commutative property, but I always like to put the first one on top. X minus 3. Okay, so put the minus next to the last number. It makes it a lot easier. All right, let's change the color. This becomes x squared. X times negative 3 is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 4 is negative 12. X times 4 is 4x. All right, so when we combine these two together, right, step three, simplify, what we're going to get is a positive x. positive 1x, right? Negative 3, take away, right? If we take 4 minus 3, we get 1, right? X squared, which has been the same. And, oh, look, we still have that 12, but now it's negative. So when we look at this, right, what's the same? We could say x squared is the same, right? It's in standard form, so it still has that same structure of an x squared, an x, and a number, right? You don't have to go crazy. Whatever you see that is the same. But what is different? Well, we see that the middle term, right, changes depending on positive, negative. We see that the last term, if the signs are the same, it's going to be positive. If they're different, it's going to be negative, right? But the number is the same. So I just want you to think about, like this is a kind of a thinking kind of question, like what is the same? What structures do you see? Okay. And the final thing is, if you have any questions, just let me know. For the next 2 days, you guys are going to do problem sets where you have to explain how to factor, right? Or explain how to multiply binomials. A lot of you guys I noticed when we did different forms, are using apps to kind of help you. And, you got to do what you got to do. When you don't understand, I respect that as long as you're learning. But we got to make sure that you guys are learning. So we're going to change the questions up a little bit. So it's more of you explaining and less of you guys doing the math. Okay. It's more about you explaining how you got your answer rather than just putting down your answer. All right. Hope everyone's well. Thinking about you guys. Really miss, our community, but stay strong and stay home. All right. Bye bye.